This particular episode primarily focuses on Clarkson and the Avengers building the parking lot. It's a lot, it goes a lot into trying to establish this space, because if you remember from the previous episodes, they were now given the permission to actually set up the deeply squat ecosystem in terms of shop, hotel, a small restaurant and stuff, and so they needed a parking lot, which the council before had denied them the right to actually build it, but now they had the opportunity to build it. Now, the reason that they actually had to build it is because when Charlie looked at, some of the quotations that they were given for the construction of that parking lot were too expensive. I'm talking between 67,000 to 94,000 pounds. And remember that they were actually providing the raw material. So Clarkson had this wild idea that they can actually do it for themselves. And strange enough, they were able to actually do it within a very short time, because Alan, the builder, had said that it was going to take like a month, and Clarkson thought it was going to take like a day or two. And so I can't remember how much time that they actually took. But apart from that, that's like now the anchor of this particular show. It's the main. It takes a lot. It takes the better part of this particular episode. Now, other things happen around. There's one, the mushroom farm. If you remember the mushroom farm, it got to a point, because he was told that he was going to harvest for a couple of days, and then it would come a point whereby they would run out. And so we are in this episode, we are looking at the mushroom farm during that period whereby he has to restock. And so he has to replace. And so the episode begins with them removing some of the stuff that were there previously in order to replace them with new ones. And we got a funny moment with him talking to Charlie, and then Lisa is like doing all the work. And she's like, can you guys just move on with whatever you're discussing? Because they were discussing the price of the parking lot. And so they're like, you guys just move on so that we get to actually do this. So I thought that was pretty entertaining. And then there was a running gag about Clarkson and a glove. He was not able to put on his gloves. At no point did you see him put on the gloves properly, because he was having a challenge with that. Then we had the pigs. They had to remodel the house in order to accommodate the, so that the bigger pigs don't lie on the smaller pigs. And actually, the people who came up with the modification patented the modification and gave it a Clarkson name. I thought that was pretty cool. So we'll wait. I'm still not confident about the pigs, but we'll get to see, because I think the pigs are, based on what happened previously, I thought that it's a gamble. But anyway, we'll see. I might be wrong. The other thing we got to see is the goats. The goats also, the idea of the goats has evolved. It has moved from just being about the goats doing something eating particular weed, I'll call them weed or plantation, and now Clarkson thinks that it would be a good idea to expand that idea to the neighboring farms. And funny enough, the neighboring farm is also managed by Charlie, so you get that moment where Charlie has to cross over from this side to the other side. The other thing was deers. In the previous episode I was talking about antelopes. I thought it was an antelope with the opening credit for the mushrooming episode, because they had an illustration that had a small animal that looked like an antelope, and I thought it was an antelope, and it's actually a deer. I mean, what is an antelope doing in Britain? Anyway, you have now these deers that actually there's an association that focuses on culling deers. When there are a lot of deers, then it affects the ecosystem, and it also affects the deers themselves. So they have to come up with a way of culling. Culling basically means that it's responsible killing, I would call it that way, because they're not killing because of a malicious reason. There's actually a good reason why they actually need to do it. I don't get it. I would wish for the British people to actually explain. Is it that if they're too much, okay, I got the idea that they destroy the ecosystem and they actually affect themselves, because they thin out the resources in terms of food. So you find that the quality of the deers, they're not really good, so they have to actually cull them so that they can maintain. It's a good thing. There was a large explanation, but we see Clarkson pick up a rifle. He's very good with the rifle. He surprises I can't remember his name. He surprises the guy who was training him, and so he goes on and kills one deer, and then we cut to we cut to him having prepared hot dogs for his guests, and then he tells them like they just ate Bambi. I thought that was funny. So I don't know where the last episode is going to take this, because unless it's going to conclude with the pigs, celebrating the pigs and the fact that they were able to stop them from actually killing a lot of the piglets, and maybe we get to see now the big conclusion with the amount of money that they were able to make, because as of now we see that Clarkson's spending is, it's okay. He's actually leading Caleb's, but Caleb's, they've not harvested. When they harvest, things may look totally different, because there's a higher chance that Caleb's harvest might tweet in the day. So we're waiting for the last episode. Apparently it's 8 episodes, so we're waiting for the last episode. We're going to see where they're going to take the story. But so far, this was a very entertaining episode. Surprisingly enough, again, like the previous 2 episodes, they've managed to actually cram a lot into this particular episode. The other thing that I thought I've been overlooking throughout my reviews is the music. I don't come from the 70s. I don't have a good understanding of the 70s, 60s, and 80s soft rock, space. So I got to hear a lot of music throughout the episodes. Very, very interesting songs. They sound good. I can't say that I'm a fan or I've listened to them, but I would be lying. But generally, this was another good episode. I wouldn't call it informative, just entertaining to see the machinery, because sometimes I think that's where Clarkson really strives when you put him in. Well, he's like a kid. When you give him big machines and a space to actually do stupid shit like play with guns, that's where you actually see that Clarkson that you're all familiar with. But generally, it was a very entertaining episode. I can't wait to see the final episode. So basically, that's it. Thanks for watching this. For the few people who are still here, who have watched like the full episode, I still have a playlist for this particular season and season 2. You can go back and check them out. But generally, I love you guys. Thanks for being here. See you on the next one. Remember to always watch what you enjoy and enjoy what you watch. Adios.